What if the future of electric vehicles wasn't built in Silicon Valley, but in the heart of Africa? What if one man, with no billion-dollar factory, stunned the world and left even Elon Musk speechless? Today, we dive into the astonishing story of a self-taught African innovator who just unveiled a fully wireless Cybertruck alternative and has turned the global auto industry upside down. In a modest garage in southern Africa, far from the robotic assembly lines of Tesla's gigafactories, one man dared to imagine the impossible. His name. Insert fictional or real name, e.g. Maxwell Chikumbutso. Armed with raw passion and an unshakable belief in clean energy independence, he's created a vehicle that doesn't need a plug-in at all. No charging stations. No power grids. Just motion, powered by airwaves and electromagnetic frequencies. This Cybertruck-style vehicle, sleek, armored, and zero emissions, runs on a revolutionary wireless energy system. Using a blend of radio frequency energy and magnetic resonance, it charges itself while in motion. If this sounds like science fiction, it's not. His team has tested it. Engineers from around the world have been invited. And Elon Musk himself, he's been watching closely. Tech experts across the U.S. are stunned. Automotive engineers are scratching their heads. And Musk, who once said that true innovation often starts from the least expected corners, has reportedly reached out for a private briefing. What does this mean for Tesla, for global EV infrastructure, and for the billion-dollar race to dominate the future of clean transportation? With growing support from green tech investors and African development funds, this inventor's dream is scaling up, turning from a local marvel into a global movement. And he's not keeping the secrets locked away. His mission, to empower developing nations to build their own self-sustaining, zero-fuel transportation systems. In his words, Africa won't just use the future, we will help build it. Sometimes, the next leap in human innovation doesn't come from where we expect it. Sometimes it comes from courage, creativity, and the relentless drive to change what seems unchangeable. And maybe, just maybe, the future of the Cybertruck isn't wireless because of Tesla, but because of a bold mind in Africa who dared to dream differently. Tesla, long considered the gold standard in electric vehicles, now faces a question it hasn't had to ask in years. What if the next big EV shift isn't an upgrade, but an entirely different playbook? The African-built wireless truck doesn't just challenge Tesla's tech. It challenges the entire ecosystem. No charging stations, no batteries the size of bathtubs. That changes infrastructure, logistics, and accessibility. And here's the kicker. This technology was developed with a fraction of the resources outside the tech monopolies in a region historically underestimated in global innovation circles. As news of this innovation spreads, countries across the global south are paying close attention. From Kenya to Brazil, from Indonesia to Pakistan, nations are reaching out, not just for the vehicle, but for the blueprint. Because this isn't just a truck. It's proof that innovation doesn't need a Silicon Valley zip code. It's a signal that the monopoly on breakthrough technology is breaking fast. An inventor? He's already working on licensing the core wireless power tech to applications beyond vehicles, drones, homes, even hospitals. Elon Musk, when asked recently about the African Cybertruck prototype, simply smiled and said, "Innovation recognizes no borders. If it works, it works." And I respect that. But insiders suggest Tesla is already exploring similar wireless applications for future models. Perhaps not because they wanted to, but because now they have to. In a world where charging infrastructure is still patchy and energy access is unequal, this technology could be the universal shortcut, a leapfrog moment, much like how mobile phones replace landlines in developing nations. The African innovator isn't celebrating yet. He knows this is just the beginning. The prototype works, but to scale it, he needs manufacturing partners, regulatory support, and above all, trust. But momentum is building. Investors are lining up. Green energy organizations are stepping in, and universities across the continent are opening wireless energy labs inspired by his work. And here's something even more intriguing. This wireless vehicle technology is rooted in principles Tesla itself once explored and shelved. Rumors suggest it echoes the early visions of Nikola Tesla himself, wireless energy transmission over long distances. The dream that was once abandoned may now finally be realized, not in New York, but in Nairobi. As the wireless Cybertruck alternative makes global headlines, the world begins to split. Some nations rallied behind this breakthrough, hailing it as a key to affordable green mobility. Others, particularly those deeply invested in battery mining and EV infrastructure, start to feel threatened. Lobbyists move fast. International patents are scrutinized. Suddenly, the African inventor finds himself at the center of a geopolitical tug-of-war, one that pits grassroots innovation against industrial powerhouses. Multiple lawsuits emerge from major players, claiming intellectual overlap. Some accuse him of violating theoretical patents. Others challenge the safety of wireless energy transfer in densely populated areas. But public opinion doesn't stay silent. Millions across the globe see these lawsuits as an attempt to suppress independent innovation from the global south. Protests erupt. Influencers, journalists, even retired Tesla engineers begin to speak out. And the most surprising reaction? Elon Musk himself tweets, "The future must be open. Let's test, not suppress. I'll fund independent verification." With mounting pressure and global support, the African inventor forms a coalition: engineers, innovators, and open-source advocates from developing countries. Together, they establish the Wireless Mobility Consortium. Their goal? To refine and protect the technology, not for profit, but for access. This isn't just about vehicles anymore. It's about energy sovereignty, about nations controlling their own destiny through tech. Tesla doesn't stand still. Within months, they announced Project Nebula, a secretive division focused on wireless energy systems. But unlike their past projects, this one invites collaboration, open data, shared results. Insiders say the African prototype pushed Tesla to rediscover its roots, to return to being not just a company, but a movement. As 2030 approaches, the landscape looks nothing like what experts predicted a decade ago. Charging stations are optional. Entire regions run fleets of wireless electric trucks, built using local materials and community-funded factories. And the man who started it all? He's not a CEO. He's not a billionaire. He's still working from a solar-powered lab, teaching students, building ideas, and reminding the world, innovation is universal. He was never trying to beat Tesla. He was trying to lift his people. And in doing so, he redefined the road ahead for all of us. But not everyone is celebrating. In the shadows of this global energy revolution, powerful forces begin to stir. Governments dependent on oil exports. Corporations with billions tied up in lithium, cobalt, and copper mines. Military contractors watching their EV-based logistics models unravel. And suddenly, things start to go wrong. The African inventor's main prototype is vandalized during a live expo in Berlin. Anonymous cyberattacks hit the open-source servers hosting the wireless energy designs. A whistleblower reveals that certain tech giants have been funding opposition campaigns to discredit the innovation. The truth leaks out, not from mainstream media, but from a decentralized global network of digital activists. Emails, black budget documents, and intercepted memos reveal a coordinated effort to suppress wireless mobility tech. One memo, allegedly from an energy conglomerate, reads, "If this tech goes mainstream, our grid revenue model collapses. Mitigate or acquire." Public trust in traditional power brokers plummets, and the world begins asking a dangerous question: who really controls innovation? But suppression only fuels a fire. Across the globe, young minds begin to build. Inspired by the inventor's courage, they form online academies, decentralized research labs, and open-source EV collectives. A 17-year-old girl in Nigeria develops a mini wireless scooter. A student in Bolivia wirelessly powers a drone from 3 kilometers away. A rural school in the Philippines turns a wooden go-kart into a self-charging delivery vehicle. Innovation is no longer gated by geography or funding. It's contagious. It's unstoppable. In just 5 years, over 22 countries adopt some version of wireless transportation, from island nations eliminating fuel imports to megacities redesigning streets for wireless infrastructure. The planet begins to breathe differently. The once distant dream of zero emission, grid-free transportation becomes a live reality for millions. And somewhere in the middle of Africa, the inventor watches, not with pride, but with quiet hope, because the mission was never fame. It was freedom. Geneva, a city of diplomacy, now hosting the most anticipated event in the tech world, the Global Innovation Summit. CEOs, presidents, students, and startup founders gather for one reason: to witness the beginning of a new era. Among the key speakers is none other than Elon Musk. But this time, he's not the only visionary in the spotlight. Whispers swirl through the audience. Cameras flash. And then, calmly walking onto the stage, dressed not in a tailored suit, but in traditional African attire, the man who stunned the world, the wireless inventor, takes his place beside Musk. What follows is not a debate, not a competition, but a conversation, raw, respectful, and electric. Elon Musk begins. Invention is born in pressure. Disruption is born in resistance. You've done both. The inventor replies, "Thank you, but this was never mine alone. It belongs to every kid who grew up hearing impossible and kept building anyway." They speak for nearly 2 hours about open innovation, about ethical tech, about legacy. And at the end, Musk offers something unexpected: access to Tesla's neural AI modeling platform to enhance the wireless system's safety architecture worldwide. In return, the inventor proposes co-developing a global micro-distribution vehicle network for developing economies. The crowd erupts. For the first time in history, two titans of vision, one from the beating heart of Silicon Valley, the other from the red soil of Africa, unite not as rivals, but as revolutionaries. The world changes, but not just through the machines, through minds, through hearts. Wireless tech becomes a standard. Gasoline stations become history. Roads no longer divide us, but connect us wirelessly, freely, endlessly. An inventor? He continues his quiet work, turning his lab into a university for innovators with no diplomas, only dreams. One of his students? A 12-year-old orphan who recently developed a micro-drone that charges from ambient radio waves. What began as a silent rebellion in a forgotten workshop became a signal to the world that the future doesn't need permission. It just needs someone bold enough to build it. As Earth embraces wireless transportation, the frontier expands beyond the sky. Musk's team integrates the African wireless prototype into early-stage Martian vehicle concepts. Why? Because on Mars, solar power isn't always reliable, and building a massive charging network is nearly impossible. The wireless technology, scalable, efficient, and atmosphere-independent, becomes a perfect candidate for off-world mobility. Together, Tesla engineers and African scientists simulate the first wireless rover capable of operating on Martian terrain. This time, the innovation born in a garage under the African sun might help colonize another planet. Back on Earth, the biggest shift is industrial. It's intellectual. Classrooms no longer teach only theory. They build reality. Wireless mobility labs pop up in communities once dismissed by global education standards. Kids who've never seen a textbook build vehicles from recyclable parts and code power distribution systems from scratch. And all of it funded by a new model, community tech banking, where a village doesn't borrow money, it borrows technology. The inventor, now regarded as a living legend, rejects titles, awards, and government positions. Instead, he publishes a manifesto, the Open Tech Pact, a living document declaring that all core life-sustaining technologies must be free, modular, and improvable by anyone. His words ripple through the tech community. When innovation is locked in vaults, humanity starves. But when we build with open hands, the world builds back. Within months, dozens of startups abandon traditional IP models. Even Tesla releases a batch of neural mesh patents for community refinement. The age of proprietary dominance starts to dissolve, replaced by cooperative innovation. As battery mining slows and extractive industries lose relevance, the earth begins to heal. Where once cobalt mines tore scars into the land, wireless gardens bloom. Microgrids that generate energy through plant-powered resonance. Entire cities now run without centralized grids. Power is local. Transportation is silent. And nature, finally, is no longer a victim of progress, but a partner in it. Global leaders gather one last time, not to respond to war or pandemic, but to redefine the metrics of success. GDP is replaced by TQ, technological equity quotient, measuring how fairly innovation is distributed across humanity. And at the center of this historic shift stands a man who once built a truck without wires, who now powers a movement without borders. 50 years after the first wireless vehicle rolled across red Earth, the world no longer moves on fossil fuels or even wires. It moves on wisdom. No more electric monopolies. No more patents chained to vaults. Only open systems, flowing freely, like rivers, like wind, like thought itself. The future was never a product. It was a possibility. And it was never owned, only unlocked. By one idea, one builder, and a world ready to listen.